We're here in Madison, Connecticut, inspecting two 1987 Yamaha 200 horsepowers. Have been sitting a long time. They're on a 28-foot 1987 Mako. Customer requested we come and check it out. First thing we're starting on is a compression test. And we're actually filling out this sheet as we go. This is our data sheet. If you'd like a copy of this, we'll gladly send it to you. Just request it. So we've hooked up our compression tester. The boat is been disassembled already for restoration. So we're going to hook in 12 volts directly to the starter. As you see, the boat is in disarray. So, but we can still do a compression test. We've hooked up our spark test, which it hasn't had spark. But that's no big deal. Bill will solve that problem. So we're doing our compression test right now. We'll walk you through it. Basically, this is a good compression test, and if you ask us, good tester, this is right off the Snap-on truck. If you ask us, we're going to just say they all have to be even, they have to be within 10%. Because starters get weak, the amount of voltage going in the starter varies, so within 10%. If I give you a number, you're going to be off, so this is how we do it. We're going to start with number one, and number one is always the top starboard side. We'll just do a couple of these. And basically crank it till the needle stops going up. All right. We had 100. We'll do number two. Number two. We've got 100, so we're doing good. We're going to go now 3 through 6. We'll have that completed. Kind of got ahead of myself on the compression. We just completed that. We did all 6. As you pull the plugs out, inspect them. And you really don't even have to know much about how to read a spark plug, because it's a 2-stroke. Each cylinder runs independently. So if they all look even like this did, it's a good sign. If one had bits of metal on it, or it was brown or white, could have been getting water in there. Not a good sign. So always set them out, look at them, inspect them. Right, so we've completed the compression test, the 2 sheets. Now each motor has prone to fail components that you should inspect. And through experience, we know what to check. These particular Yamahas were famous for rotting out the shift shafts, which is this part here. You can see this is starting to rot already. That's why it's all bent, it's rotted. For some reason, Yamaha decided to make this out of steel, which was not a good idea. But back in the 80s, stainless was not as good as it is today, and they thought steel was stronger, so that might have been the logic. But they are famous for rotting out, and unfortunately, this shift shaft goes right here. Over here, there's one right going through this tube. And when it's bad, you have to replace it. And to replace it, you have to pull the power head, which is usually stuck. You'll see the rod right dead in the middle, right there. Now that looks good, and that's usually where it rots out. So we might be safe to gamble a little bit and leave that one in there. Additionally, when we take this lower unit off, we can look up with a borescope and check like the midsection of a part of the shift shaft and see if it's ready to go, because you don't want to be in the middle of the season, August, and that shaft breaks and you have to pull the power head, deal with a grouchy outboard mechanic like me to do it, and I'm going to tell you 4 or 5 weeks at least. So we inspect that. Another thing, we know this motor sat for at least 12 years, so of course we have to clean out our oil tank. Take that off. This is the oil tank on the motor. There's another one in the boat that should be cleaned out. Probably should upgrade the electric transfer motor that's in it, or at least test it. Clean out all your strainers, start fresh. Additionally, when we finally get it going, we'll put a little bit of oil in the gas. We'll verify the oil injection is working by it's actually using oil. The tank goes down, and it won't hurt it, because there'll be a little extra oil in the gas for break-in, or whatever we did. So it'll be just security and make sure all our alarms will work if you have low oil. So these are all specific to these motors to check. Here, this motor, as we keep talking about, sat for 12 years. So we're going to check the carburetors. A couple things, real simple, real easy. Carburetors have chokes, manual chokes. So we make sure they move. And a prone to fail component on these Yamahas is their 2-stage choke. So these parts actually break once in a while. You want to make sure there's no cracks in there. They actually break and fall off and actually go into the motor, cause all kinds of problems. These look great. Another thing you can do is they have drains that actually are the high-speed jets too. We'll take one out and we can look at the condition of the carburetors. Oh, we finally got the right wrench. Screwdriver wasn't cutting it, so this is it's actually a combination drain and high-speed jet. It's clean as a whistle. No evidence of, this would be all green if it sat. The motors were probably put away correctly. Or the worst thing you can see is corrosion on this. There's corrosion on this. This carburetor's probably shot. We also made sure that the throttle plate open. If it's been underwater, that doesn't open. But you'll see there's a number on here. That's actually the jet size. That's the main jet that feeds the motor at high speed. If that's clogged, since there's one per each cylinder, the other 5 cylinders will keep running. One cylinder won't get fuel to it, which on a 2-stroke will mean it's going to detonate that cylinder. So that's why carburetors are so important. They need to be taken care of. You got to give them good, clean fuel. Another thing we want to check out is the power trim. Yamaha power trims, to buy this new, if you can still find it, it's $4,500. Other manufacturers, it's like $15. For some reason, Yamaha is very high on power trims, lower units. They're not that bad. But we were pleased to see that your seals are not compromised. These will rot right around here. Got dissimilar metals all over the place. So this was put on with a zinc. That's great. The trim motor's not rusted, which usually they are. This is actually steel component. So this is in great shape, and we just ran it up, and it ran up very well. So that's starboard. That looks good. We're going to go on to port, and hopefully that'll be good too. To just inspect the gear lube. We inspected. It's got to look really thick and nasty. It's been sitting 12 years, but we want to see that. If we see water, we got a problem. Lower unit's probably shot and probably has to come apart, because water sitting inside a lower unit with steel gears in it, steel bearings are all rusted. So we're going to leave the vent closed right now. This is the vent. Hopefully you're familiar on how to fill a lower unit with oil. You actually fill it from the bottom, wait till it comes out the vent, you lock it, and then it creates an airlock. Then you put the bottom in. So we're going to just crack the bottom screw out, see what comes out. A little bit of water comes out first. That's okay. It's as long as a little bit. It looks like it's been leaking here. We'll check the magnet for filings. So, yeah, oh, it's brand new. I'd rather see used than brand new. So, since it's been sitting for 12 years and we got brand new oil in it, I'm a little worried, because what happened was it probably sat with no oil or water in it, and before the sale of this boat, somebody filled it with brand new, because no way oil that's 12 years old sitting in this boat looks like that. That's brand new. It's also the wrong oil. That's not synthetic oil. So in conclusion, I was called by my customer in Haven. He bought this boat for very little money. He's got to put a lot of sweat equity into it and have a boat for his family. 28-foot Mako, as we said before. To replace this with comparable running new, well over 6 figures. So when he's done, if he does everything right, he's got to have a boat and he has a lot of pride in, because he does all the work. And it's got to be a boat that's built a lot better than a lot of new ones, especially in the Mako world. The new Makos are really lightly built. So there's a lot of these projects out there. As long as you have a good work ethic, you can come up with something really nice. As you see, there's no stress cracks. Even the gel coat's in good shape. This will buff right back out. He's done all his research. He's checked his stringers. Even the gas tank will be. The motors are going to need quite a bit of work, but he kind of knew that. And honestly, these are some of the best motors that Yamaha ever made. And with the education of knowing what's prone to fail and inspecting that and replacing it, you can have very, very reliable motors at a very inexpensive cost. It might burn a little more gas. And the advantage is parts availability is through the roof. You could find another motor for this boat within a couple of days and have it on there. You can't, in this economy and the way the part shortages are, you can't do that with a new motor. So there's a lot of advantages. Like everything else, it's going to take some work and some money, but still, going to be money ahead. You got to have something that everybody wants to talk to you about. It's a great job. You got to be able to take pride in your job, project. Just going to need some education, that's all.